that my future isn't odd enough? Is it cause I think your music is innocuous? Or because I don't accept what they offer us? Deception is obvious and popular opinion makes decisions for the youth. They would rather be entertained instead of listening to truth. While market and psychology manipulate your elements, selling you an irrelevant product of unintelligence. Tell me to dumb it down, I tell you to smarten up. The revolution is now, the ending will start with us. The signal we're sending out encourages waking up. Executives look around, it's harder to make a buck.
About today. You look beautiful, by the way. All the makeup and
Thank you. You look nice too, but thank you. So I have an idea.
okay.
So I just got to thinking about how, we talk about ledgers, right? But like, what if we turn that inside out and we talk about when you're not on the ledger?
Say more.
So okay, so let me tell you what got me to thinking about it, but we don't necessarily, hello Regina, we don't necessarily have to talk about this particular thing, but I'm thinking about the 47 family lines that are now gone in Palestine.
Okay.
They're not on anybody's labor anymore. And so I'm thinking about things like census, different places where people don't show up,
Okay.
and how that affects people when they don't show up on somebody's roster.
So basically the forgotten ones.
Huh?
The forgotten ones.
Yes. Yeah. So there's the ops and there's the ledgers, but also if you're not on the ledger, then that keeps you from getting things also.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, when you're talking about the absence or the forgotten ones, what you are talking about is, so I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking about. And here, I think that this kind of crosses over on my Facebook page. Also, anybody that's listening, thank you for following me on Facebook. A lot of you came over from TikTok and followed my personal page. It is raucous over there. It is. You don't want those problems over there. You will not be educated over there, okay? I literally posted a picture this morning with like unwrapping a Santa chocolate, and I was like, if I send you this, it means eat a dick. Good morning. I am over there. I'm terrible over there because it's my personal page, right? Like, it's where I get to just be funny, be silly. Those people have been my friends, are my friends in real life. My family's on there. So if you actually wanted to follow me on Facebook, it is Desiree B. Stevens, but it's like community builder, counselor, educator sort of thing. You need to find the page, not my personal Facebook, because you will go over there and lose all faith in my education. It's gone. You're going to be like, no, this person is a terrible human, and I'm okay with that. But on my Facebook business page, I had posted, we are coming up to a time of our elders, right? Like the boomers are retiring. People born in the mid 50s, late 50s, 60s, right? And so I had posted an article that was discussing how the average lifespan of a Black man born in the 60s was something like 62 years old, right? And retirement is 67, right? And they're trying to push it to 69, which also, by the way, the life expectancy of Black men has gone up. So I find an interesting correlation there. But to your point of like what happens to the forgotten ones or the people not on the ledgers, or, like how do we disenfranchise them, all of these sorts of things, right? Like, and I'm like, this is what structural racism looks like, right? Systemic racism. And I was like, it's more ways of taking away wealth because that person doesn't exist. Right. So it goes back to your rosters and your things, right? Like that person who, when you're talking about patriarchy, right, especially in those days and times, the man was usually working. So the woman, was at home, yada, yada, yada. Not very often in Black homes because we all been working. We've been working since we got here.
We had to.
Didn't have an option. But what it does is it leaves his partner without benefits, right? It's going to leave his wife without benefits. It's going to leave his child without benefits. Because if he was never able to claim retirement,
Mhm.
claim those benefits, right?
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
counts. So that being said, also, then I sat down, and a friend of mine posted about the actor. I'm trying to pull up his name because I don't want to mess up his name. Who died?
Andre Brower.
And this is a Black man living well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So this is not even like we're not even adding the poverty to it, the stress level of being poor because it's stressful as hell. We're not talking about bad food, bad living habits, or anything. And this man is 62 years old. And I was like, how timely is that? And I just posted this article yesterday about, more wealth taking from Black people who have actually paid into a system. Fine, you don't want to give us money for enslavement, but like now we're talking about systemic issues of taking, I paid into your system.
Right. Yes.
Things you said to do, because the statistics are not coming out of anywhere but your own accounts and ledgers. Your own CDC is saying Black men from that time who should be coming up upon retirement will never see the money that they paid into.
Right.
Therefore, their families will not see him. Therefore, those people don't exist on the ledgers, right. Which is where I feel the crossover of what you're talking about with 41. Did you say 41 family lines erased?
They said 47, but it's got to that's the low estimate, but it could be very much higher than that.
I think that's where it kind of crosses over, right? And I think when we're having these conversations, it's something important to kind of do that. Like, where does it impact you? Because let's be realistic. I firmly believe that people really become more activated when it's something that impacts them. Mm-hmm. It feels distant, right? Like that can't happen. And we've seen these things happen, right? We've seen family lines erased, right? Through enslavement, through the Holocaust, currently now with Palestine. We've seen this. So this is not new. We've seen this with the indigenous here, There were many more tribes than there are now. And I'm not talking about federally recognized. I'm talking about their own sovereign tribes that they named and claimed that were annihilated.
Yeah.
Like, so we've seen that. So what indeed does happen to those people that no longer exist on the ledger, right? And that would be the goal of the colonizing person, entity, organization, government. Because like with wiping out the indigenous here, if you wipe out, the Trappy tribe, because they don't want to fuck up anybody's tribe, so I'm pulling it off my hot sauce. If you annihilate the Trappy tribe, that's one less tribe that you have to provide these benefits.
Right.
Reduce
the number of claims they can make.
Right. They can't make any claims. Also, you don't have to account for the violence towards them because who's there to tell their story?
Right. So, because it amazes me, related to what you're saying, how quickly we can forget that something ever existed.
Right. Easy.
Easy peasy.
With ease. Like it never existed.
Yes.
One, because we trust only the written word, right? Mm-hmm. That's one of those pillars that we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't there on the council. That can't be true.
Right.
We see it as Black people all the time, right? When we explain enslavement and they're like, but that ended in 1817, whenever the fuck you think it ended. And we're like, yeah. So what actually ended was like shipping product into the country. I hit my own eyeball. I'll give you that. Like, I don't even argue that point, and we could argue the smuggling and the transportation, like, because we watch them transport humans all the time. Human trafficking is still happening. But I don't even argue those points. I'm like, okay, you're right. It ended. King George said no more. Mm-hmm. But what didn't end was forced breeding.
Right. No, that did not end.
Millions and millions and millions of Black people. You're talking about one person who's enslaved able to have 15 children and using Black men to populate as bugs. Right. So if you do this over and over again, I mean, exponential numbers.
Right.
It's compound interest.
It is compound interest.
It's compound.
You got me thinking about so many different things. That's why I'm not saying anything. My mind is engaged.
That's how money works. And when people are money.
Right.
Okay. but you only trust the paperwork.
Right.
So when descendants, literal descendants of enslaved people, which is wild to me that people don't understand that. I'm like, I'm 44 and I am the first generation of Black people born free. 44. This is our Gen X Black people are the first generation of Black people born free in America. Sit with that.
Yeah.
We are quite literally the descendants of the enslaved here in the country.
Right.
We could tell you stories that we heard from our own family, but worship of the written word. So when those lines that you're talking about, the 47 families, it gets erased.
Yeah.
It's an erasure. That's what happens. They're not on the accounts and ledgers, and we're still living and abiding by a system of violence and oppression. They don't exist.
Right. No, so I'm thinking about like claims to land. And so if those people no longer exist, then every trace you do backwards, it ends up in a certain place in certain people's hands, right? And it doesn't go any further than that.
Right.
Hmm.
You can claim it. Because again, you're still talking about a system that is like that, right? Like it's ownership of land, right? It's not like it's the power over, not the power with.
Right. Right. So the basic premise of it
is power over. So if it's why things are so ironclad, right? Oh, get a trust, protect your property, because they're always ready to snatch it. If I died right now and I didn't have a trust, my kids wouldn't get shit, and I own my house.
Okay, so one of the craziest things to me, but I understand why we have to have it, is when we lived in Knoxville, we had a mortgage, or had a mortgage, signing papers and all that, and this title insurance.
Yeah.
That is like the craziest thing to me, that people make a living out of going around and contesting titles. Like, not like trying to get their family land back, like no, your whole corporation is scouring, going to local government offices and sitting there and going through the books to see whose title you can take.
I have a person who, let me tell you, they don't own their home that they grew up in. Now, because one letter was wrong on the title. Lived there their whole life, grew up there. Not only did they grow up there, their parent grew up there.
So who owns the house? Who owns the land?
So now, well, I mean, the state in which they're in can take it back. But what's now happening is that now it has become a family affair, right? Now the siblings could come in and be like, oh, that was never your home. And now you know better. Because, so it's like, it goes back to the accounts and ledgers, and it really goes back to the conversation that we had over the last few weeks about checking your children's records. See how all of these...
Right. Yes.
Because my title, right, like, let's say, so like my home, I own my home. I've shared this. I'm very transparent about my life. I own my home outright. It's paid for. Got it for $30,000. I'm not balling. And the lady was nice enough. Literally, I paid this thing off. I gave her $5,000 down with a tax return. And I paid $600 a month. Like, that's how beautiful. She was the absolute, and we became Facebook friends, never met in real life. But like, she's like involved in my life. I send her pictures of the house, the backyard, like all of these things, because she blessed me. That was a huge blessing.
Yes.
So my house is paid off, but my house is paid off in my maiden name. So I'd literally need to go and update that because I'm not legally that person.
Yeah. Yes.
Isn't that crazy? That's accounts and ledger. Because that could be something, back to your title company, that could be contested.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, well, that was Shorty. That wasn't this person. Now, you could see the line of succession where the name change came.
Right.
So you know it's still the same person. All of the other things match. But even something that simple, why your record keeping is so important, which is, again, why we know we could trace back to get reparations, because you have to be that meticulous in here with your ownership.
Yeah. That whole argument is so bogus, because as we've talked about before, slavery was not this enterprise where these local yokels in the South. These were very sophisticated, well documented, highly managed, clear division of labor, specialization, and expertise systems.
What it is that people have to stop looking at it emotionally. And I'm saying that as
Yes,
a descendant of the enslaved, because my
yes, yes.
work enslaved less than an hour and a half for me in LaGrange. I live in Atlanta. You have to stop being emotional about it and get into the business of it. We see
Uh-huh.
import export all the time right now. The shirt on my back, I'm sure probably came from China.
Right,
Like
right,
it's not a foreign concept when you want to stop being emotional about it.
right,
It is a
right.
concept that's happening right here and right now. It was an import export business. The problem is it was people.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
but like we were, I talk to Haven and I always have these conversations. And like Haven has a great analogy and is like the same way the shirt on your back has probably seen all of the world before it got to you is exactly how Africans were transported.
Right. Yes.
It's the same thing, right?
Yes.
Oh, like, okay, well, the Dutch changed it from there and now it's going to here and now it's going to there. It was an import export. It was a business. We
Right.
need to really understand that these things are businesses. We get deeply emotional, which is great because it means you still have some humanity left in you after they try to strip it all out. But the truth of the matter is these systems are about business.
Right.
Level.
Businesses with products.
And to your speaking about Palestine and what have you, is like there will be nobody left to claim the lands. Therefore, when Israel as a government wants to expand, there is nobody to contest it.
No claim.
What I get scared about is when the United States gets all of them home, what they're going to do to the Jews. That is like, I'm like, the conversation needs to be expanded. Like, there's absolutely no doubt what's going on right now with the Palestinians. But that's phase one from a Christian nation. Phase two will be them. Like, this is a tale as old as time. This is what
No, this shit is ruthless. It's ruthless.
And it's what it has always done.
Yes.
No, this is what Christianity has done out the gate. This is the new crusades, baby. Like, let's go. Like, what they've done is given you a really good mind play that, Christianity is the end all be all of things, right? And it would not need to expand. But we're watching the expansion of it.
In real time.
Oh, yeah. We're watching the expansion of whiteness. We're watching the expansion of Christianity. This is just phase one.
Lily was saying, I feel like in a couple of generations, slavery is going to be outright denied by U.S. government. I think that's within reach.
100%.
Because you can hear it now.
Yeah. I'm watching it with AI.
Yeah.
Fuck now. We could go 5 years ago. Was it 5 years ago when Texas changed their school books? I think it was 5 years ago. I'm going to look for the post on my other phone.
Yeah.
Texas, who controls our school books across.
They do. They absolutely do.
Right? Texas. Like, home, like, of all of our educational books come out of Texas.
Right.
When they said that the enslaved were immigrants coming here looking for work.
Right.
Yeah.
And think about what's happening in Florida. But also the Daughters of the Confederacy have been ushering this in for years.
Long game, baby. Long game.
Yeah, Lily said, so we get distracted proving it versus talking about reparations. And that reminds me of the Toni Morrison quote is like, the minute somebody says like your race has no value, whatever, then you spend all this time setting about like trying to disprove their argument and prove this and prove that. And it's a distraction. It's a deflection.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Say about it. Here's what I'm saying. Give me my money now.
Right. Run me my money.
Period. Point blank full stop. Again, I was having a conversation this morning and I'm gonna make a video about it. I love us. I just love our ADHD TV. It goes everywhere. Is that like when I think about allyship, right? Why I don't believe in allyship. Let me circle all of that. Is because ally is a war term. that we both have something to gain. And if we come together against the enemy, we will gain this. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm down for allyship if you really are down to admit that we're at a war.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We could be
Mm-hmm.
allies, but now you better start moving like we're at war.
Mm-hmm.
Like being an ally is not fucking changing your profile pic. You better be ready for war.
Right.
In all the ways. And then similar to you and I discussing interdisciplinary teaching in college,
Mm-hmm.
I believe we need interdisciplinary activism.
Mm.
Right? Because people get another conversation Haven and I were having is like people get distracted, right? Like we were talking about like gay rights and disability and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, but like disabled people still can't get married.
Right.
And this is going to have a whole thing because like if I don't have disability, but I'm having my surgery on my back. But like, let's say because this goes wrong and something and I need disability, I may not be able to get that being married to somebody.
Right.
And when you're talking about equal rights, right? Like you guys stop doing one thing to do another. That's this is why interdisciplinary, right? Because like, oh, the gays need to marry. There are disabled gays. I just want to let you know.
Right.
Like,
and you know what? And that way of approaching things has been fostered by our education system, K-12, colleges, universities. You're one thing or you're another. Like these cross cleavages, kind of multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary understanding of the world. I remember like when schools were first trying to do that, people pushed back so hard because they want you siloed. They want you thinking about one thing. Two things can't be true at the same time, or your focus can't be, but then it is wrapped into multiple tenets of white supremacy because it's like, first of all, school should not be an individual endeavor.
it should not.
It should be a communal endeavor where you're learning as a group. I'm not talking about the stupid ass group projects, which I have forced many people to do. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about truly problem solving where you're learning skills as you go. And I was talking to somebody this morning and we were talking about like the art versus the science. Like I got these videos of talking about art, science, math, engineering. And this woman got online and she was probably, I don't know if she was baiting or whatever, but she was like, make it make sense to me or something like that. Why do you need the art and the STEAM, the science, technology, engineering, mathematics? And it's like, we're going to just play along, pretend this is a genuine question, but schools and systems actively encourage you to think like that and to not see the connection among all these things so that you have these technologists over here who don't even pay attention to how the technology interacts with people with brown skin.
Or in anything, right? Like needing, like interdisciplinary, again, back to allyship. Interdisciplinary activism is necessary because if you want true allyship, you got to go to war. And every good war council has a war room and a war council.
So what I was going to say, so related to activism, what I was going to say is like, we've already been primed to think of things in like discrete little categories, right? And so when we go into thinking about activism and how we want to show up in the community, it's like, well, what we end up doing is acting like we're on a sports team.
Which is what we see with the I'm this or that, right? We're pro-Israel or pro-Palestine. I'm like, how about maybe whole humanity?
How about that?
How about that? How about that? Like, what does that look like? Because at the top, they are collaborating. At the top of the pyramid scheme, you guys know I always say that these supremacist, oppressive governments is a pyramid scheme. At the top, they have the greatest minds that they've created, right? You have economists working with accounting because those two disciplines, even though they're dealing with money and numbers, don't really know how they interact. How the economy works is not the same thing as accounting and ledgers, right?
Right.
Like, not...
Right.
Not the
No,
same.
because economy looks more like sociology.
Right. Like, and then you need a sociologist and you need a psychologist because I need to understand how people work. And that's sociology. And I need a psychologist because I need to know how this impacts their brains. And that is psychology. And then I need a geologist because I need to understand how we are living this way that the sociologist has 100% watched and how that mind works and then interacts with the earth and how it's impacting her as well.
That's right.
Like that's
And I need a data scientist to tell me how to do predictive analytics and how all this works together.
And I need somebody that's dealing with humanities to understand the spirituality of all of this and how that all coexists. And like the fact that we are continually upholding these pillars of white supremacy. I am still breaking those down on my Substack. Thank you to you guys who have subscribed to that. Like, it's been great. Like, when we are upholding these pillars of supremacy culture, even in our activism, and this is why decolonization is at the core of it. Because if you have not decolonized, you will consistently repeat the same system. You have to get that shit up out you. You have to get that colonized mind, thought, movement up out you. Otherwise, you're going to do it all over again. Even in your well-meaning ways. We are watching it right now with choosing sides instead of being able to be like, yo, I'm concerned because the only thing that's happening right now is Christianity expanding.
Right.
One nation under God. And one God. And it was the Christian God. And as soon as they expel the Palestinians, they will get them home, the Jews home, and expel them too. So that Middle East area can be a Christian nation too, because Christian Zionists believe they are the new chosen people.
Right. That's how imperialism works.
That is how imperialism works. Say that one again.
Because that's how imperialism works.
Here we go. Because I want people to hear it. Because I'm like watching all of this and I don't have the energy to come on this app and argue it.
No, I don't either. I just don't. First of all, I'm just fucking tired of my own life. But I just don't because there's so much resistance to talking about the humanity part of it. There's so much, and I cannot argue like humanity. I cannot argue that.
I can't argue humanity. I can't argue existence. I can't. I cannot. Like, you know what's so much easier to do is believe people. Like, it's so much easier, right? Like, I'm having a conversation on my business page and underneath the retirement article. And this guy jumps on there and he's like, you know, basically his attitude is pish posh. And I'm like, it's very interesting that you just came here with a very like poppycock attitude, right? And then hit me with some statistics underneath that in the second thing. And it's just like, I don't want to argue about it. Like, first of all, I'm showing you it. I'm showing you back to interdisciplinary. I'm showing you the stats. The CDC is saying that these men born in this era do not live to the average age of retirement.
Right. So then that's like another set of issues when we talk about ledgers. So there's an issue about who's on the ledger, who's not. Then whose ledgers are we talking about, and when do people decide to believe those ledgers, and when do they not?
But speaking of ledgers and enslavement, so our grandmother's Bibles don't matter?
Right. That's data.
So, because like when I started doing my like DNA research, my grandmother is born in the Carolinas and in the Gullah area and early 1900s, right? You never really know a black grandmother, by the way. Again, 44 in the 1900s. And they literally told me, go look at the slave records because they couldn't find birth certificates. And they did not, in the South, in South Carolina, did not have to legally, listen to this account and ledger, did not have to legally account for the births of black people until 1972. I was born in 79.
I was born in 71.
So if you were born in South Carolina, though obviously there's birth certificates, but there was no legality to have to issue you one, is what I'm saying. They did not have to issue you, Dr. Kim, a birth certificate.
So what does that mean?
So it goes right back to your 47 families of Palestine. They don't exist. Basically, on accounts and ledgers, my grandmother, the person who rocked me in her arm, I have pictures of, memories with, does not exist.
Okay, so if you're listening and if you write Afrofuturistic or speculative fiction, there's a whole thing here that you can use in your book about accounts and ledgers. So if you're a writer, this is a tool that you can use to develop your story.
Basically, that's what it's saying, right? Because in America, if you don't have a birth certificate, you don't exist. So people like us, and this is just recent, I'm not trying to avoid speaking about the 47 Palestinian families.
No. That was just as an example.
I'm just gonna go through what I understand, right? Basically, I mean, obviously we have a death certificate for her, and she had that issued later on in her life. But again, which is why we don't have the exact birth year. Many Black people don't know that, right? Like, oh, my grandmother's born, I don't know, between 1908 and 1911.
Yeah, my mother-in-law was like that.
Yeah, I think it was 1910 she put down, right? You know what I'm saying? But it could give or take 2 years. Because you don't really know, and you're going off of your oral. Like, what did my mom tell me? Man, I can't remember that. My mother was born. My great-grandmother would have been born in the 1800s.
Right.
See how close it is? So she had that issue later on in life, obviously, and we have a death certificate. So now she exists. But think about how many Black people did not exist, and we did use family Bibles.
Mm-hmm.
Big old Bibles and so. We literally rewrote the Bible. You know, like in the Holy Christian Bible, it's like in Genesis, and Desiree begat Aaron and Jade and Kieran, and they begat and Bridget. We had to do that. We had to write our own Genesis in this country.
Right.
So whose issues are we talking about?
Right. So I want to go back to something related. Lily said, I see a lot of resistance in talking about ethics and humanities in tech spaces too. And I'm going to tell you why that comment caught my attention is because talk about people who control the ledgers. The people in the tech spaces are documenting our realities, and they do not want to do ethics and humanity.
No, because this shit is unethical.
Right. So it fundamentally pushes up against what they are trying to do because they don't want to be told any better. Yeah.
So yeah, basically, if you don't have that, right, which is why, when you're talking about legacy, right, like aristocratic people and passing things down and trusts, right, or titles, right, like even back in the day, one of the movies that I love, what is that movie? Somebody commented, if you know, with Heath Ledger. It's like A Man Could Change His Stars, right? And he goes and he's like, well, I'm going to be,
You said Heath Ledger?
Huh? Heath Ledger. Yeah, oh my God. I fucking love you. So anyway, it's like A Knight's Tale. Oh, that's what it is. I love this movie. But that is very much, very true. Like, you needed that lineage, right? Like, who do you come from in order to have a claim to this title, to this land, to this whatever it is that you are trying to claim? Like, again, back to me owning my house. If my kids don't have, there's been a huge push for home births and not getting birth certificates. And I'm all for birthing at home, but get you a birth certificate, fam, because that ain't what you want. Because if you die, your kids don't exist and they can't claim nothing from you, right? Like, these are what these systems do. Like, you have to be a part of it. It forces you to be a part of it as much as you want to divest from it.
Right.
Because if not, you don't exist, right? So in order to stake a claim to my property, my children would have to exist. And their legal tie to me needs to exist. That is their birth certificate.
Right.
Right? Like my legal tie, like marriage, it's cute that in the last couple 100 years, y'all made it about love, but it's about business acquisition and asset management. Like, it's a legal tie to property. Single is a legal statement. It's not a feeling.
Yes, it is.
It is
With legal implications.
with legal implications, with tax legal implications.
Right.
Like you are taxed at a different bracket, single, than married,
Right.
than married filing separate, than head of household.
Right.
These are not feel-good feelings. These are very specific legal terminologies that are used for accounts and ledgers. It's not a feeling. Like, I am married, but my husband and I are separated. He has a whole other partner. I'm not single. I'm only single when I'm outside in them streets.
Right.
Single, fam. Like, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. It's a legal term. Like, accounts and ledgers are a thing. It just is what it is. Like, and what are we doing about that, right? Like that, back to that interdisciplinary activism. What does that look like? Like, I need a genealogist. I need to do these things, right? I need the ecologist. I need the sociologist. I need all of these people, and we need to be sitting together trying to dismantle this, because you guys want to fight about like, oh well, all you do is talk on TikTok. Okay, like that's what I can do. That's what I have the capacity for, right? Somebody else has the capacity to march. Somebody else has the capacity to be, writing letters. Somebody else has the capacity to run up in buildings. Whatever you have the capacity for, right? It's the spider web thing.
So what you're saying has got me thinking about the right to comfort. Because of this right to comfort, and in particular among white people in this country, we haven't had to think about these things and how they come together. We, walking around, oh shit, I'm free. I got freedom of speech. I got this, I got that. But you don't. What you have is the illusion of choice. And you have been directed away from seeing how things come together. You have been directed away from an interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary view. And the trade-off was that you get to be comfortable, you get to feel superior, you get to feel accomplished, you get to feel, well, I don't have to live in that neighborhood, or I don't have to swim in the swimming pool with these people. You've been allowed to feel like you were something.
Right. And the only thing that's truly trickled down in this country is oppression.
That's it. That's it.
So, like, you're not paying attention to what that looks like. Poverty breeds violence. Let's just take one example of that, right? So it's great that you live in your imaginary neighborhood. Borders and these separations and zip codes and all of that is a colonial construct as well. So you live across the street in a good neighborhood, but across the street, quite literally, is the bad neighborhood. So you've been zoned into better groceries, more, better schools, and I'm using better as a very loose term, but a higher, more money is being poured into that neighborhood that's across the street. And we all know, we have literally seen blighted neighborhoods across the street from, gentrified ones. So you're sitting there so their poverty doesn't impact you, because that's where I'm coming to get. That's where I'm coming to eat, because poverty breeds violence. So when you start seeing these neighborhood groups like, my car's been broken into the 5th time this year. Well, bitch, I wonder why. You live across the street from the projects and they are poor and the median income is $10,000 a year.
And there is a whole system that depends upon individuals coming and breaking into your car and stealing your car.
Right. There's money. They want that to happen. There's a ways to revitalize and spread it all around. But colonization teaches us scarcity. There's not enough.
Yes, it does.
You can move into these neighborhoods. I get it. I have tons of white people in my life that literally do move into neighborhoods that were usually zoned to keep black people away, right? Like a lot of these areas were where black people had to be, right? The ghettos come from fucking Germany and Warsaw and what they did to the Jews, and they realized that that shit worked because America and Germany worked side by side. Like, that was
Game recognized game.
yeah. Nuremberg laws are based off of the race laws in America, and the way that zoning and neighborhoods created, it comes from their ghettos. They had the ghetto first. Okay. So when you have like, ooh, this ghetto shit is working. We're going to do ghettos here in America. So when you have created ghettos here where you put Jewish, Puerto Ricans, and blacks and Irish together, and then upper motion, and that's a whole other thing we'll talk about another time. But when you have the ghetto and you've created it for what you created it for, to keep these people isolated, and then all of a sudden you create this illusion of choice. Oh, you're not segregated no more, black folks. You can move. Can I? Welcome redlining. Underpayment, all of the things that
Credit scores.
all of the things. So you have this illusion of choice, and then like white people are not making the money, right? The suburbs, like the middle class was a fluke. And that only happened because they didn't want black people to have access. Like that was a fluke. It was never supposed to be. It's supposed to be haves and have-nots, period, point blank.
Right.
So the middle class happens, and but you have white people that are still trying to perform hierarchies of whiteness that can't fully get into middle class. So they move into these ghettos, and instead of putting money into there, because I'm not here for revitalization. I'm just not here for education. They move into these neighborhoods, and instead of funding the local school, they'll build Montessori schools.
Right. That's right. And send their kids to the Montessori school. Yes.
So because now you have, expendable income because you moved into a place that was forced for people to live in, you are now going to build a fucking school that costs $1,500 per child a month. But across the street is the shittiest public school that you know. And then you'll get mad that your kids have to walk to your expensive ass school and see people hanging on the corner.
Right.
Smoking, pants sagging, guns, whatever it is that you're complaining about. And this is how everything that we do impacts each other. That's humanity.
It is.
That is humanity. You could have put your money into that school. And if you have time to show up places, show your ass up there. I need better teachers. I need better books here.
Right.
Everybody benefits. And that is how there's always enough.
Mm-hmm.
There's always enough.
There's
if
always
was being poured into that. Okay, you know what? You don't want to bring us a Trader Joe's. You don't want to bring us a Whole Food. Well, you know what? We're gonna grow food and we're gonna sell our own shit. We're gonna start a farmers market.
That's right.
Or we're gonna go buy that food and donate it to the ghetto hood stores that are in the ghettos.
Right.
The big,
you have to buy rotten fruit.
The ones with the pick fives. Well, you know what? I want better food here.
Yeah.
Instead of pricing people out that are still poor and that are now gonna rob you. And the government don't give a fuck that they robbing you because they making money. Because now they get a bigger police budget to be militarized, right? They look like they're doing something effective. They get to put people in jail, which is nowadays enslavement. I don't understand why we don't see the interconnectedness of not only humanity, but the interconnectedness of the oppressive system. We're all impacted by it in one way or another.
And I looked for this article that I mentioned to you, and I still have not been able to find it. I did look for it, but the article was saying that, I read this years ago, as long as people have at least the appearance of a safety net, then the divisions are not clear.
Right.
The scarcity is not clear. But the moment, as
soon as credit cards go away, we're all fucked. I don't know about y'all.
Yes.
My credit cards keep me living well. Like,
So I'm thinking about like what's happening in Palestine, right? And so like a lot of people are really being confronted with this. Things feel very unsafe for them right now in a way that they could ignore when it was just Black people getting brutalized by the police. And so whatever buffer they perceive to have between them and some sort of military action, the reality of Palestine has pulled that away.
right. But you know what the shame of it is? I'm going to just disrupt you for a second.
Oh, go ahead.
The shame of that is with white people, which is why I don't always like, I'm like, I don't believe you. I come from the poor whites. It's not been happening to them.
Right. Nope, it's not. It's not.
They run through the projects. And then what's worse is poor white women are married to the police who are beating their asses. So you know police brutality exists because your cousin is married to a cop. Because if you are a poor white, you know at least 3 cops in your life. I know I could name 5. If you come from poor whites, you know cops. They're in your family. They're in your friends. You went to school with them. So you know how violent, because I'm like, I don't even know how the fuck y'all pass. Aren't you criminals?
So
they're not far removed. They choose.
no, they're not far removed.
Comfort. It is them realizing I can
Right.
find my way out of this.
Right. And that illusion of superiority.
Correct. Even over their own.
Right.
Because I go back to the white trash all the time. I've seen it in my own family. My mother would be white trash, right? She lived in the South Bronx. My Aunt Deidre was a little bit better, who lived, right, like in the North Bronx and had a job. And then my Aunt Mary was top tier white because she moved out to the suburbs and bought a house. So you can't play in my face because I know how it actually works.
Right.
When my mom had a trailer, it was like one of the worst things in my life. I wanted to die when my mother bought a trailer. Like, I was like, kill me now. Like, 'cause why would you
roll me away in this trailer?
Why would you solidify the white trash in us? Why would you do this to me? Like, why do you not care about me? But my mother owned it outright. She was an activist.
I take it in a heartbeat.
She did great things with the life that she had. But so I don't believe it because I know how it works on the inside.
Right.
The thing in Palestine, they will also ignore because they ignore their own poor people who are being brutalized. Who are getting shitty education, who don't have access to medical care or any of the other things that all these other people have. It's just obvious for us because it's inescapable.
And that's what I was wondering. Like, I see people, and I'm not gonna, you feel about it, engage however, but there still is this disconnection. Like, it's still like that's a separate conversation from the conversation that we're having about imperial forces. And once that conversation goes away, then have we opened up a broader conversation about humanity, or was it just about Palestine?
It's going to be just about Palestine. Because like I said, I'm a sociologist at heart. I'm like, until white people care about people in their own community, I don't believe you don't have the capacity for it. You have the capacity to feel in the moment.
Yeah.
I'm also watching it where you're choosing sides, right? I'm pro-Palestine. I'm pro-Israel. I'm also watching it and turning around and superimposing our racial construct in America all the way over there. So you just cannot do that, right? Like, it just does not work. It does not translate. It just doesn't, right? I'm also watching it in the language, right? So now Zionism is conflated with Judaism, which is a problem in and of itself and brings more violence to Jewish people who are already getting their fucking schools bombed in America just for being Jewish. And then you want me to believe that we're friends of the Jews as a country.
Right.
And I'm like,
Right.
not ever. We're watching it with calling everybody who supports some version of it, or like putting Zionists, like call it genocide, like call it what the fuck it is. The government are genociders. Not every single Zionist believes in the way the government is going about it. So you could see how we are superimposing colonial American ideas on an international situation, and it will wipe away. They will forget. Back to the 47 lines. They will, because there's going to be a new atrocity that's happening that white people will drop the Palestinians and go run to do something else because they're not seeing the interconnection.
Right.
They're not seeing, right, the butterfly effect.
Right. And the connection between this guy getting killed over Cop City and what's happening in Palestine.
Right. The militarization of our police.
That's what it is.
It's
Because
like
what's happening is it's a test lab. And they're trying out new technologies and they're building new relationships. And also, like this, like people talk about how big the U.S. defense budget is. So one of the things that happens with that is that, yes, a lot of that goes to like the branches, the armed forces or whatever. But a lot of that stuff, the money and the equipment and the know-how, the person, like a lot of that filters down to the police.
We are 100% living in an occupied country right in America. And the fact that they can't see that that's what I'm saying. Like, I'll believe you when you care about your own people who are impacted by these systems. Because again, I mean, somebody could pull up the stats, like, but I'm going to just roughly throw out some numbers. Do not quote me on that. But like I said, like, so like, let's say, I think it's like 70% of women married to police report. That's reported abuse. Reported. And what's the percentage of white women married to them? So again, when we're talking about I don't need you to march for Black Lives Matter. Why you don't give a fuck that your sister getting her ass whooped by her cop husband?
Right.
I don't believe you give a fuck if my son is gonna get shot because you don't give a fuck that your sister getting her ass dusted every night because pa's staying on the table.
Right.
I don't believe you. I just cannot believe you.
Or she breathes wrong. Yeah.
Watch your mouth. Like.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Why don't you? Yeah.
Like, it's like, I just can't. Like, you know, and I've said this over and over again with the scarcity. Like, I'm from the hood. Straight up, point blank, full stop, all the way, on both sides. I get it honest. We went from the hood to the trailer park. Either way, I'm street and trash. Don't matter to me. So, I'm not going to not feed my kids so your kids can eat. That ain't never going to happen. Never going to happen will I make my kids go hungry to feed your children. What will happen is they could get less to make sure your kids eat too. Right? Like, okay, we got peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, fam. Sorry, drink water. Everybody's getting a half of a sandwich. I don't know what to tell you. Now, what I won't do is feed my kids in front of your hungry children. Because what is wrong with you? And for me, that is what I see when I see activism coming outside of white constructs. You are dead ass leaving, and then that radicalizes them people. Because I'm sorry, but like if I see you giving a fuck about Palestinians, if I give a fuck about Black lives, and again, your sister is getting her ass whooped, and your nephew is getting his eye blacked by his daddy, but you care about them folks going outside and killing Black kids? No, I don't believe you.
Yeah. Yes, it does. It does.
I don't believe you. Can't. And that's not seeing that correlation. You've accepted the violence that happens at the our activism and our policies and our political stances start at home.
That's right.
Our home is our own bodies. And that extends outward. So if you have accepted the violence, when we're talking about police brutality and the militarization, if you've accepted the violence that is going on in home, whether you've internalized it in your own body or on others that are around you, it's going to escalate because he's already getting away with it here. And now he's going to the job. And now he is exacting that same violence that's happening at home. They're just not different. They're just outside.
Yeah.
They're just outside. Ask women that are married to police how many times a pistol been pulled on them.
Right.
How many times they've experienced rape. How many times they got their ass beat. He's just outside. That's already happening. It's already accepted. That blue wall happens way before. I keep telling white people that violence and oppression trickles down. It needs to be healed within there because all it does is come out and impact us.
Right.
That shit is happening all the way here. Nobody is happy, healthy, loving, communicating well, and then enacting oppression and violence anywhere else. That's not happening.
No.
It's happening.
No.
It's unhealthy here, and then that trickles down to everybody else and globally. Which is, again, why when I was talking about the Israeli-Palestinian issue, I'm like, stop and deal with what's happening at home.
Right. Right.
Violence in the United States.
Right.
It's what made that possible.
It absolutely made that possible. They are directly tied to, because people are like, I see the parallels. No, I see the connections. Like they're threads of the same conversation.
You call me a spider web, because that's what I call it, right? It's
Right. Right.
It's directly, it's one web.
And you got to get your board out. You said you have a board that stands up.
Oh, shit. Welcome to ADHD TV.
Okay, so next time I have to remind you, because you said you got one that stands up on its own.
I'm gonna have to get it out. I'm gonna have to get it out. Alexa! This thing. Why don't want to answer me when I need it?
So nobody listen. Nobody.
Anyway, yes, I do. Please remind me, pop it into base camp or whatever. But yeah, I think that like how this all sums up, like I think if you listen to this conversation, if you just joined or what have you, I'm going to put it up on my Substack, so you can listen to it there. Because there's a podcast in Substack, and I love that for us. But you could see the interconnectedness, because this started out with you talking about 47 lines of Palestinian families gone in accounts and ledgers. What does that look like? And that's how this all happens. Like we're 10 minutes away from it, fam. I don't know what y'all think is going to happen. It's American exceptionalism that has you blinded to the fact that we're living like that. The same way that this is a testing ground for that. Ireland was the same way for colonization.
Right.
Ireland,
And you have to personally believe, that you are personally exceptional.
Yeah. It's wild.
Yeah, it is.
Because these top cities popping up is 100% occupation.
It is. It absolutely is. So, and I'm...
That's ignoring the fact that as we call ourselves Americans, we are occupying indigenous land.
Right.
So it's literally, like, I want y'all to see the correlation. I am talking about the police are occupying me as an American. And still in all, as an American, I occupy Turtle Island. Sound familiar?
Yeah. Yes, it does. Not only is there genocide happening, what this looks more like to me, and we can't recognize it here, this feels like a demolition project and clearing. That's like when I take the people out of, which the people are not, they're always tied to it. But if I look at it from a real estate point of view, like I'm just talking about real estate, this is a demolition project. It's because somebody said like indiscriminate bombing, but it's not indiscriminate. That's not what's happening. But we can't some of us can't recognize it because we don't see when the demolition projects are happening here and the intentionality behind it and the strategy behind it. And condemning places, saying that they have no value, so you can go in and you can take it, running people away, so you can go in and take it, declaring it a crack house, so you can go in and take it, displace people, so that you have access.
Eminent domain in and of itself is that.
It's highly problematic, yes. So yes, but that's that way of taking the people off the ledger. But there's so many ways, going back to your point, like if we cannot see how it exists right here, starting with yourself, with your family, with your community, and even beyond that, like if you can't see that people chasing Ahmaud Arbery down and hunting him down in the streets is not akin to how other people are being hunted around the globe, then you are missing the point. You can cry about it, you can be upset about it, but you're missing the whole point. And how he got taken off the ledger.
Right. And seeing that connection of the systems and seeing that connection of humanity and starting at home, which is self. Self is your first home. Starting at home is the first step in your activism, in dismantling, in decolonizing. Because you should be able to see this all day. This is what I do all day. All day. These are conversations I have all day, every single day. I mean, quite literally with the headphones in my ear, just talking to other people who are thinking and wondering. And like, it's interesting. I'm going to have to jump off of here in a minute because we're over. And, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time. And like, one thing that Christianity was able to do was make us feel like that was it. There were never going to be new healers. There were never going to be new great thinkers. There was never going to be nothing else. But like, this is the end all be all, right? That is that Christianization, that colonization. This is it. And it's like, I was talking again with Aiden. We talk all the time about this stuff. Like, who said Socrates was a great mind while he was alive? But we have the whole teaching methods. It's called the Socratic method.
Right. That's
but
right.
For me, that shit is a cipher in the hood. I grew up with that.
Right.
We crack a 40, smoke a blunt, and talk in a circle about everything. About everything. So why
sometimes to a beat.
Right. Why am I not the next Socrates? Why are you
Right.
Sit with that.
Yeah. Seriously.
Serious. Sit with that and start with yourself. And think about that. And come back and talk to me. And links in bio for all the things. This will be up if TikTok allows me to have it. Because I keep saying it's going to be up. And then when I go to download it, TikTok will be like, nah, fam, you can't get this.
This got a little too much mustard on it.
Too much. If, in fact, I can download it, this will be on my Substack on the podcast. And that link is in the bio. I would like for you to become a paid subscriber. It is $8 a month. But even if you are a free subscriber, I would also like to have you. And the podcast comes on the free subscription too. So thank you.
All right, Desiree, take care. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. I'm heading off to another podcast.
Okay. All right. Take care.
All right. Love you. Bye, y'all.
You can't get unfake. Right.
I sit comfortably between the retro and nexo. Terminator X with a Tyrannosaurus Rex flow. Demonstrating how to be live and direct so the rest can expect nothing less than perfecto. This track kinda reminds me of Tribe in the 90s. I guess I'm on a quest to align.